What if I told you that some of the best, most practical life advice you could ever get was written almost 3,000 years ago? Well, that's what we're doing today. We are going to unpack a few key chapters from the book of Proverbs and see just how relevant this ancient wisdom really is for our crazy modern lives.
No, really, I want you to think about this for a second. What if this collection of ancient insights isn't some dusty old religious text, but more like a user's manual for being human? A blueprint for how to build a career, a community, and most importantly, a character that actually lasts.
So, where does a blueprint like that even start? Not with some grand plan for society, but with you. It starts with you. The first thing we're going to dig into is how to lay the foundation of personal integrity. Because as you're about to see, absolutely everything else is built on top of that.
Okay, so just to be clear what we're talking about here, a proverb is basically a condensed nugget of wisdom. You can think of them as life's cheat codes, right? Short, memorable truths that are designed to help you navigate really complex situations. We're looking at universal principles.
The text kicks things off with this really powerful idea in verse 27. It says that our own spirit, you could call it our conscience, it's like a candle, and its job is to light up what's really going on deep inside of us. Our true motivations, our fears, our desires. The whole thing suggests that true wisdom begins with some pretty unflinching self-awareness.
So once you've taken that look inward, the text immediately zeroes in on one of the biggest challenges to our character, just being honest, and it makes a really compelling and super practical argument about the real price you pay for being deceitful.
And wow, this metaphor just perfectly illustrates the point. Verse 2017 totally gets it. It acknowledges that, yeah, the immediate reward of a lie can feel pretty good. It's tempting, you know? Sweet, like fresh bread. But the long-term consequence? It's brutal, and it's unavoidable. It's like trying to chew on a mouthful of gravel. That short-term pleasure is just not worth the long-term pain.
Yeah, that gritty, painful, mouthful of gravel feeling, that right there is the aftertaste of a lie. And the text makes it really clear this isn't just about a bad feeling. Oh no, this has very real, very destructive consequences out in the real world. Just look at how this all plays out. In business, verse 2023 says a false balance, like cheating your customers, is just a bad strategy. Any wealth you get through lies, well, verse 21:6 calls that a vanity. It's empty. It's going to vanish. And in the community, verse 21:28 is incredibly blunt. A false witness shall perish. The main point here is that dishonesty isn't just some moral failing. It's a practical one that always leads to ruin.
And this focus on practical outcomes just flows so naturally from our personal character right into our work ethic. The Proverbs present this really stark contrast, like a clear fork in the road when it comes to how we handle our work and our money.
I mean, this table just lays it out so clearly. Verse 21:5 says that the thoughts, the plans of the diligent lead directly to plenteousness or, abundance. But just look at the shortcuts. Getting an inheritance hastily, verse 20:21 says, won't be blessed in the end. And oppressing the poor to get ahead, verse 22:16 says, that is a guaranteed road to poverty. The message is simple. Real, sustainable wealth comes from the process, not from cheating the system.
And really, at its core, this is all about a difference in mindset. The diligent person's mind is focused on creating abundance. But then you get this incredible psychological profile of the slothful person in verse 21:25. They are just consumed by their desires, but their hands refuse to labor. They are literally being killed by their own unfulfilled wants, all because they won't just take action.
And this has to be one of the greatest lines on procrastination ever written. Verse 22:13 gives us the ultimate excuse. Oh, I can't possibly go to work today. There might be a lion in the street. It's just a timeless and honestly kind of funny reminder of how we invent these huge imaginary obstacles to avoid doing the hard work that's sitting right in front of us.
Okay, so we've gone from our internal character to our external work. Now the Proverbs scale up even further. They ask the big question, how do you take these principles and build a just, stable society with them?
And the key is right here in verse 2:13. And this is a pretty radical statement. It prioritizes ethical action in the real world, doing justice, over performing religious rituals. It's basically saying what you do matters way more than what you say or what ceremonies you perform. Action over words. So, for leaders, the text provides a clear checklist for building that kind of just society. And it's not about raw power. It's about seeking good advice, like we see in 2018. It's about blending mercy with truth from 2028.
And, crucially, it's about listening to the most vulnerable among us, from 21:13, and governing with humility, according to 22:4. That's the blueprint. And for anyone who ignores that blueprint, well, verse 22:8 gives this very stark, very simple warning. If you plant seeds of injustice, if you sow iniquity, your harvest is going to be vanity, nothing. An unjust system, the text argues, just isn't sustainable. It will eventually collapse under its own weight.
Okay, so after all of this amazing advice on character, on diligence, on justice, what does this ancient text point to as the single greatest prize in life? What's the one thing we should be pursuing above everything else?
It all boils down to this. Two simple words. It's not money. It's not power. It's not possessions. The ultimate asset, the ultimate prize, is a good name.
And here it is, the grand conclusion in verse 22:1. Your reputation, your integrity, the loving favor you earn from other people because of your character, that right there is more valuable than all the silver and gold in the world. This is the ultimate return on investment for a life well lived.
You get one. That's it. You have one life and you have one name to build. It's the only thing that is uniquely yours, and it's crafted by every single decision you make. And according to this ancient wisdom, that name, that character, is the ultimate measure of your worth.
So, I'll leave you with this. In a world that is completely obsessed with financial wealth and, getting more stuff, this 3,000-year-old text challenges all of us to rethink how we measure value. It asks, what is your name worth? What is your character worth? Now that is a question worth thinking about.